Okay, you guys, I just was talking to myself there for like ever. I don't know what my deal is with technical difficulties this week, but I just gave you a whole explanation of that little bowl and I was on time lapse. Okay, I'm going to start again. Hello, we are making a paper bowl today as we are continuing on with form, and we're using recycled magazines to do that. You can use recycled magazines for a lot of things. There are professional artists who make jewelry out of those, who make paper beads that are really, really beautiful out of recycled paper. You guys have the National Geographic magazine that was in your kit. If you, for whatever reason, never picked up your kit, or you don't have that magazine in your kit for some unknown reason, you can use catalogs that come in the mail, like junk mail. You could use grocery store ads, any kind of colorful, thin paper, any kind of magazine will do. You guys have an advantage with that National Geographic magazine because the pages are smaller. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling up the magazine paper, and I'm rolling it on the diagonal for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to make your piece longer that you are going to be attaching, and two, we're going to tape the end of this, and if I were to roll it straight across, I would have this whole edge to tape, but because I'm rolling it on the diagonal, this is going to be the only loose end. Now, what I discovered in the last little video that I just made where I was talking to myself for 20 minutes and just on time lapse, I discovered that these pages that I've cut out are really too thick. They're too big. So by the time I roll it all the way up, it becomes a little bit hard to deal with. And I'm not making it like a round straw. I'm rolling it and kind of flattening it because you are going to need it to be flat when you start to assemble it together. So I got right here, and I've got this one little tip, and I'm going to take a piece of tape. And if you don't have tape at your house, if you don't have Scotch tape already at your house, you can get some very cheaply. They sell it at the Dollar Tree, dollar store, sell it at Walmart for 99 cents. And it doesn't have to be nice Scotch tape. You can get cheap Scotch tape for this because it just has to hold a little tiny piece of paper together. Now, what I think I'm going to do for the rest of my bowl is, because I've learned this assembling these right here, is that I'm going to cut my pages in half. You may not have to because you already have some small pages, but if I cut them in half, the thickness once I get it rolled is going to be a lot more manageable. This is what I was talking about. If you roll it straight across like this, when you get to this end, you've got this whole edge to deal with, and you don't want to use that much tape, and you don't want that much tape on your bowl. So even if you cut these, I would still do it on the diagonal. One, it's going to make your page longer, and you're only going to have that one little bit to deal with. But these that don't have as much paper rolled up in them, they are so much easier to wrap and to deal with. So I would pre-make all of my little rolled up pieces of paper. And I don't know how many you're going to need. That's going to depend on how big your bowl is. I would not try and make a huge bowl to start with. I would make, just a little form, a little medium bowl. And if you do that and you love it and you decide to make another one, you could add more, right? But I would say you're probably going to need 15, maybe 20. This right here, this little disc that I started, it has 3. So 3 paper straws are wrapped together. This is about double that, so that's probably 6. I would think, I don't know, you may not need 15 now that I'm saying that out loud. You may just need about, I don't know, maybe 12. 12 if they are flat and skinny. But you may want to make 15 just in case you mess up or you want to try it again or whatever the case may be. So, and I say that, but this was a whole piece of paper rolled up, and this was the half, so it's not nearly as long. So use your best judgment. Make about 15 and see how far you get, okay? Once you get all of your straws, your paper straws kind of pre-made and ready to go, you're gonna start by taking it and you're gonna roll it up as tightly as you can, And this is a slow little roll. It's not fast. It's not going to be something you do in 10 seconds because you want it to be nice and uniform and even and no gaps in between. It's just going to be nicely crafted, okay? These can look one of two ways. They can look super great and amazing, or it can just look like crumbled up magazine paper, and you don't want that. So you want to be very careful with how you do it. So then I'm going to take the next one. You can kind of slide it into that little space if you want to. If it doesn't fit in there, you can still just tape it. And I just put a little piece of tape all the way around it just to hold it really steady. And then I will continue to wrap this. And the thinner papers are so much easier to deal with. This one is kind of messy just because of how thick the roll is. So I'm going to keep wrapping it and taping the next piece and rolling it. If it starts to get loose on you, unroll it, tighten it up, and then do it. Because you don't want to have wrapped all of it and there's a big loose spot in the middle or a big gap in the middle. Let's say that you didn't make enough of these and you have to stop for a minute. You can take a piece of tape and you can lightly just place it over the whole thing and set it aside and come back to it, okay? Once you get it wrapped as big as you want it to be, and I would think it would need to be a little bigger than this. So let's shoot for like, I don't know if we said maybe 4 or 5 inches in diameter, okay? Then you are very slowly gonna start popping this out into a bowl shape. And you have to move slow. If you try and push this all out at one time, it is going to come all out at one time, but not in a bowl shape. So take your time and you'll just start to press this out. And this one is not gonna move up very nicely because I've already moved it up a couple of times and smushed it back down, and it's too thick at the top. So I'm gonna work on fixing that little top part, but you will eventually get it into a bowl shape. And then we are going to finish these out by shellacking kind of on top with some glue, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that to seal them up. You're not going to eat soup out of these bowls. They're just decorative bowls. You can put wrapped candy in it or throw some change in it or your keys or whatever. So I want you to try and get at least this much wrapped today, and then you'll double it before you start shaping it into your bowl, okay? And I'm gonna restart this. This is way too thick to do much with, but let me see if I can show you on this one. This one is nicely put together, so it's gonna be a little bit easier to press out. And of course, this is way too small to be a bowl, but you get the idea of how it's going to become 3D, right? It's gonna become a form. All right, so now I will show you the lovely time lapse that I made, and you can get started cutting your papers apart and rolling them up. All right.